how do you know from this point going forward, even if you analyzed, say, 15 or 20 companies, you were really good at that.
Yeah.
You found one represented better value than the other at this moment in time, or so it appears. What if the CEO has his fingers in the cookie jar?
FTX.
What? And I also taught online for 2 years during the COVID.
What were you teaching? I mean, what were you playing?
Oh, play guitar and sing, did a single act.
Like a acoustic or?
No, electric with all the tracks and all that kind of stuff with the synths and everything.
All the pedals and stuff.
You got it.
Oh, yeah.
And all the lounges and hotels and things like that.
Oh, damn, that's cool.
Damn.
Yeah.
It was good pay, huh?
It supplemented my income as an electrician.
Yeah. How many years were you an electrician for?
Since I got out of high school.
Why?
I'm 67.
Why electrical?
Oh, yeah.
Wait, hey, give us a quick intro. It's
Why electrical?
This is a I want to say that, I just met this guy five or 10 minutes ago, but I like the diversity in our guests that we're bringing on now. This is really cool. Give us a quick intro. So how did you guys meet?
So I met Daniel just fucking smoking a joint and running Senora, right? And he just came by in PJs and we just fucking talked, man. It was good. We were talking about a lot of things. Daniel's a retired prof at BCIT. He used to teach electrical, like the trade.
Okay, yeah.
Very knowledgeable guy from what I can tell. And yeah, that's basically a good intro for him.
Yeah, I like that.
And
solid.
we both got dogs.
And we both got dogs.
Yeah.
And
Mine's slightly overweight in comparison.
Mine's way more powerful.
Yeah, that was
For sure.
way tougher.
Oh,
way
yeah.
tougher.
Look at this killer.
Just looks like it's gonna kill.
6.5 pounds of pure beast.
Jesus, ultra heavyweight.
Yeah, watch out there, man.
Watch out. The most interesting part of our conversation, or the one I remember, was this talk of the pros. So most people, including you, Hector, know that, or not know, but they don't see the rewards of being nihilistic. Or
Yes, I would. Yeah, I would subscribe to that.
the thing that was interesting with Daniel was that he made some pro facts about how it could be beneficial.
Sure.
Okay.
Let's just jump right into that, man.
Sure.
Me personally, I enjoy being nihilistic. Like I believe that it's like a higher sense of consciousness in a certain aspect, because it's like the ugly stepbrother of being realistic.
How do you define nihilism personally?
I'll do that for you.
Ooh, I like that.
As per Wiki.
Go ahead, Daniel.
Rejects generally accepted or fundamental aspects of human existence, such as objective truth. Not that there couldn't be subjective. I'm just pointing that out. Knowledge, morality, values, or meaning. The question is, if you're going to reject all those things, does that give you carte blanche to do whatever you want, whenever you want? Is there no such thing as moral absolutism?
Mm-hmm.
I think my definition of nihilistic does not match
Yeah.
the actual definition.
I had a feeling it didn't.
My definition, again, subjective, so it could be bullshit.
You can have any one you want.
But I feel like it's being realistic to the point of understanding when you're doomed. And just riding those waters.
That might be closer to pragmatism.
Yeah, probably. I'm probably more pragmatic than nihilistic.
I actually would, like, if we weren't even having this podcast and we're just shooting the shit on the phone and you were like, you know what? I think I would agree to it. I would have been like, yep, I would describe you as pragmatic.
In other words, because I got the Google, an approach that assesses the truth of meaning or theories. In other words, you're looking for whether it's real.
Yeah. Because some things is just like the realistic view of certain things is just.
Does it work in practice?
Yeah, exactly.
To simplify it.
So I think like certain things like our generation doesn't want to address. They almost escape it.
Like what?
Fucking just buying an apartment, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's the fact of buying an apartment. Many people, including, I'm not going to say who, but a lot of my friends can't actually afford to buy an apartment without the help of their family.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, if their family doesn't put a down payment for them or something like that, that they can't afford it. Me personally, like, I think you're just fucked because buying an apartment, just the fact of buying an apartment, let's just take that out. Okay. It's just debt, right? Yes. You're counting on the fact that it's going to go up, but look at the market right now. They're going down, man. They've gone down like 35% since February.
It's about 10% off the peak on for Canada.
Yeah. So,
But if you're a pragmatist, then you would contrast against being an idealist, for example, and you might say to yourself, fine, I'll buy it, because essentially it's the bank's responsibility. If I default anyway, I could walk away.
true, but that's not the case, right? Well, if you can walk away, but then you're fucked for 7 years or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, the bankruptcy.
Yeah,
component.
exactly. So you're not really you're doomed. But what is my fix?
But a pragmatist might suggest it's the bank's responsibility, at least in part, if not in whole, and it's worth the risk.
I think that's where I differ. I think that's where I think that it's up to us. I think at a certain age, everybody comes to the realization that it's you and you. Like, I lost my wallet, right? My mom calls me. Is like, hey, how are you doing? I'm like, Mom, I feel like shit. I lost my fucking wallet, right? And then she's like, where did you lose it last? I'm like, if I fucking knew, I'd go there, right? I'd go there, try to look for it.
Did you
I don't
retrace
know.
your steps?
Yeah, did you retrace your steps? Like the most basic shit.
Sure.
Then at that point, I realized this a long time ago, but whatever happens to me, whether it's like getting held at gunpoint or whatever, my mom can't help
Interesting
me,
example.
But
right?
did you feel a sense of personal loss?
Every day, man.
Specific to that item, the wallet.
Yeah, man. I had like sentimental things. I had stuff Perez gave me.
Really?
Yeah, I had stuff
shit.
Perez. Like we
Yeah,
had
yeah.
a teacher, Daniel, that like I was pretty fond of. I liked him, man. And you know, we used to be, I used to be a big hood rat. And if you don't know like that exact definition, I used to do some sketchy stuff when I was a kid, or a young adult. And Mr. Perez, he was very forthcoming. He was a very nice guy. He was very accepting, and we used to shoot the shit all the time and smoke some weed, right? And he was our Spanish teacher in high school. Mm-hmm. So we had like a little thing. He gave me a couple bills from like Spain and stuff that I kept in my wallet, and now all that shit's gone, man.
Shit.
All that shit's gone.
A portion of your life is exempted, never to return.
Man, I gotta write a letter to Trudeau. Get that shit back.
You might get it back. I mean,
I don't think so.
buddy of mine's girl, she just had her same thing, but it turned up in like Langley of all places.
Yeah.
Missing a few things, obviously.
A nihilist would not miss the wallet.
Makes sense.
See, pragmatic, man. Pragmatic.
Well, the nihilist
A pragmatist might.
would lose. Now, if I'm understanding this correctly, a nihilist will essentially lose all meaning to
life.
property, possession.
There's no objective truth. There's no knowledge. There's no
Yeah.
morality. There's no values. There's no meaning.
Yeah.
If you put meaning to your wallet,
Yeah, exactly.
you can't be a nihilist.
That's true.
Not in the pure sense of the word, anyway.
Yeah. Selective nihilist.
I'm selected.
That's actually easy to do.
Yeah.
You
Selected
become indifferent
nihilist.
about certain things?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Daniel, what would you consider yourself? I want to actually expand that question. What would you
In simplest terms,
in comparison from now to when
Yeah.
you were like our age, like 29,
shit.
28?
I was a holy terror when I was young.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I better not say what I used to do. Let's just say it was pretty destructive.
Right.
Me and the boys.
Yeah.
There's nothing we would not do.
Mm.
Explosives.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm stopped now.
I mean, you already went. You
I
already
wasn't
went
sure.
balls
I'm like-
deep into this.
I'm like,
Okay, I was building.
We've had some interesting guests here, so I'm just like, I wonder what he's gonna say.
Let's just say I was building rockets, which
Oh, okay.
didn't always actually leave the launch pad.
Yeah, yeah. October sky over here.
Yeah.
Well, where I grew up, there was no real organized crime, no real militancy, so my skills just went away. In certain areas of the world, at certain times, I would have been an interesting person, but it just kind of faded out.
Where did you grow up, if you don't mind me
North
asking?
Van.
Okay.
And there was nothing going on.
Yeah.
Zero now.
Yeah.
We're talking like 30 years ago.
Yeah, man. The Persians barely just came there. at that
Very, very underdeveloped, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
30 years ago,
Talking 50 years ago for me.
50 years ago.
Yeah.
Explain to us
Well,
how
actually-
old you are again.
67.
Explain to us. Just tell us.
67.
That's-
Daniel looks like a young 55. I'm not going to
2
lie.
times 30 plus 3 plus 4.
Yeah.
Is that how you I've always asked people those questions just to get a feel for how their brain works. Like you ask them just like a basic like, hey, add this and this, but tell me how you did it.
There
So
you go.
I
That's
do
how
what
I do
Daniel
it.
does. I break numbers
Yep.
up to add them up in my head, or even to multiply them in my head. I'll break them up into groups and chunks.
Take the big one, find an even number
Yeah,
from
exactly.
it, divide by 2, whatever that little scrap
Yeah.
is left, try and figure out 2 variables associated with it.
I do very similar to like break up. I can't, like some people can just do it, or they do like I don't know how they, like, okay, what's 250 plus 355?
605.
I have no doubt you're right, but how did you do it in your head?
I added 350 and 250 and added 5.
Okay, fair. Yeah.
You could have gone 250 times 2 and then take the difference.
That's it. It's
500 plus
interesting
that.
people, because that, how you do that will be similar in some ways to how you like approaches in life. With other
I used to
stuff.
date this girl from North Van, actually, and she was this
Of course.
white trash chick.
Okay.
And
never
her
mind. Not
brother,
what I thought.
this is how white trash she was. Her brother was autistic, and it was because their mom and dad were like somewhat cousins. Okay, so this guy would sit on the couch, and I swear to God, he had a gift with math. I could
he
be
was a
like
savant?
14 times 17.5.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
is that? And he would come up with it right away. Now, one time we had a party and invited his her brother, and he came, and I just told a couple girls that I knew that like, hey, go hit on him, right? See what happens. This guy had a manic attack, right? As
Yeah.
soon as a girl touched him, this guy went nuts, and then after that, it was like police came, all that shit. But his gift was like pure Rain Man shit.
Yeah.
He would
Yeah.
like he could literally do any kind of, I would say simple math, but like pretty extensive.
I've yet to meet someone like that. The closest I've gotten is in school. There are people who were like, you could tell were very gifted, mathematically speaking.
If you could teach that guy how to count cards,
Sometimes autism and music. Sometimes.
sometimes, yeah.
Because music has a mathematical element to it.
Yes. Pattern recognition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, Daniel, you can read people's patterns better as you've aged? Of course, but like to what extent? Because there's guys I know that like will look at you and be like, your favorite drink is Merlot, and they'd be dead on.
Nah, can't do that.
You talk more like picking up on people's tendencies and seeing what kind of person they're going to be.
Tendencies, patterns, styles, all that. I feel like that's something that I'm half decent in, but not to the extent that I want to be.
We even brought this up where I was like, you should consider making that a thing.
Yeah. Because like we would have, Daniel, we would have people that we would stream with.
I can tell if a girl is going to go home with me.
That's the only one that matters. The rest, fuck
Everything
it.
else, fuck
Yeah,
it.
fuck it.
There are
Okay.
signs, and they're fairly clear.
Yeah.
Starts with a smile. Starts with her looking at you longer than you look at her. It helps if she's dancing alone.
Why are you looking at him so long, man?
I'm trying to pick up these tips, man. I'm trying to pick up these tips.
It's usually pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Hector,
Oh,
do you,
hair flipping.
to what extent though? Is just like fucking this, or like she's
Twirling.
got to do
The twirl.
that shit? Yeah.
It's got to be a twirl.
What if a guy does the twirl? Does that mean he's into you? Is that the same? Is that across the board?
I think so.
Does he have dreads?
Depends.
Well,
If
what-
you want him to.
What I have noticed with women, it's any nervous movements they have about them, it goes one of two ways. Either they're scared of you or they're into you. And you got to be really good at, not really good, but you have to be like decent at knowing what's what. So like if you're making a girl uncomfortable or if she's actually like
Yep.
nervous because she's
Sometimes it's
into
a
you.
blend.
Yeah, and that's true. That's true.
Mixed.
They might be uncomfortable with the idea of being attracted to you, but they're still attracted to you. But those nervous
can't
movements,
help it.
like the hands under the, like there's various things that they
Yeah.
might do. Like it's almost, I don't want to say nervous tics, but once you have them there, then you realize that they are 100% paying attention to what you're doing.
I've come across some girls that are like they want to date me and I want to date them, but they come from such a nerdy, geeky background that like as soon as they realize like what kind of guy I am, they're like they're worried. You know what I mean? They're worried for their safety, but they're still down. So it's a weird line to walk, man. It's definitely weird.
Just read Moby Dick or something first.
Yeah, warm them up.
Yeah,
You want Cinderella or what?
Just read 10 pages of some popular book of the last 100 years.
Yeah, Daniel, would you recommend being like, if you had a son, what would you recommend the type of ideology for him to have? Like, what would you keep him away from? What would you recommend him to
keep him away from Scientology for sure?
I don't know, man. Tom Cruise is doing pretty fucking well.
Featon? No thanks, man. As far as a way to live, syndicalism, maybe. Let me see.
Some big words here, man. I don't know if I have the change to break up the dollar value on those words. That's like a $20 word for me.
It's a $27.5 word for me.
Not nihilism.
Bro, it's a $50 word for you, man. Break out the bill.
Science.
So be scientific.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So factual, logical, practical, man.
Yeah. Prove it.
Yeah. But makes sense because you're a practical guy, right? You teach electrical to guys.
You can have any opinion you want, but if you want it to be meaningful outside of just yourself, there has to be demonstrable evidence.
Would you have described yourself as ever being idealistic at any time in your life?
Sure.
And what changed?
You can't not be idealistic. We were talking about social responsibility, remember? That's why I couldn't be nihilistic. If you don't care for others, then maybe you could be nihilistic. Otherwise, you would have ideals by default. If someone across the street falls into the street, you're going to go help them out or not?
Depends. What do I get from it?
Nothing.
Is it describe the person?
She's hot.
Oh, hell yeah.
But wait, no, hold on.
Come on, man.
For a
I'm
90-year-old.
Yeah.
Listen, the only two type of people I'll help. Either they're very good looking girls, I'll help them out, or they're like they remind me of my grandma or my aunt or something, you know what I mean? Or an old man like my grandpa or something.
All right.
Then I'll go help them out. But if you're like 30 to 40 and
what if he was a Nazi white supremacist skinhead and he tripped and fell and there was a semi-truck heading straight towards him?
I'd probably go kick him in the temple with my steel toe shoes. That's what I'll do.
Would you let him go?
Yeah, after I kick him.
Afterlife, so to speak?
I mean, I'd probably get a good video out of it or something, but I don't know. I just think that sometimes I'm a little bit of a psychopath when it comes to,
I would save him.
Yeah. Hector, what would you do?
I lean more towards that than that. The way that the question was, these are great, these morality type questions, because there's the other ones like the train. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, right.
The train ones. Yeah.
And you shoot someone when they're falling from the top of a building.
Yeah. Is that how the train one goes? It's like,
sorta.
Yeah, you have like
you shoot them on the way down and they're falling.
Yeah.
Did you murder them or not?
Exactly.
Which they were going to die anyway.
Yeah.
And if you extend that out any farther, you can say everyone's going to die, so why not shoot now? What's the difference? 1 second, 10 years. So what?
It's actually a pretty famous question. If you want to get your professional engineer's license, well, whatever, there's an ethics portion of that you need to pass and you need to go through to get your designation. And one of the questions that they ask is the train scenario, where it's you have a car full of people that are headed to their certain doom, like they're gonna die, and by doing like some small thing, I think it's if you flip the lever, you can save them. Oh yeah, there's like someone on the track. There it is. There's someone on the track. That train is gonna hit them.
And you just gotta push the
If
lever.
you move the lever, you save the person, but then the people in the car will die.
Okay.
So
how
what do
many?
you
Like
do?
I would say, whoever has more people saved the most.
Yeah, pure numbers.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you got to make value judgments.
Yeah.
Which is possible.
I almost want to pull up exact questions. I think It's like more. It's harder than that because that's easy. You're just like, okay, 10 versus 1. I'm gonna save 10 instead of 1.
But I got a question for you guys though. There's been an inference when we were last chatting about this idea of free speech. So assuming you had control over what happened and didn't happen, would you let Nazi white supremacists march in the streets, or would you have a law that prohibited them? Because in Germany, as one example, you absolutely couldn't.
Yeah.
In the U.S., they have relatively free
Yes.
action in that regard.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's pretty obvious why the Germans do. 2 world wars
Yeah.
and 6 million dead from the concentration camps alone. And it's fairly obvious why the Americans do, because it's in the Constitution. They were trying to get rid of the British and the French.
Yep.
So you're going to stop those people from marching in the streets, or are you not?
I think
go first.
Or if so, how are you going to do it? By a law? Or are you just going to
Enforce it.
put them in a net and stick them in a hole?
Yeah.
I think if you stop them from expressing their freedom of speech, eventually it's going to trickle down to, more sensible people just having their freedom of speech. So you can't actually stop them. If they want to march in the street and say, supremacy of...
Can't do it in Germany.
Yeah, but Germany, that because they had all that backlash and shit. But what I'm saying
kidding.
is, like, in America or in Canada, I would say that you should be able to. I actually disagree with this whole, like the truckers, the
freedom truckers.
Yeah, the freedom truckers. Like that was
Quote, unquote.
it's crazy how they took away money from like the GoFundMes and they arrested those people that like they blocked basically everybody's bank account that supported them initially, which is against freedom of speech. But technically in Canada, you don't have that First Amendment.
That's correct.
So they can do that, which means like we don't really have real rights.
We don't have
we have a charter of rights, but it's not a
church and state in Canada
That's right.
either.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're not a republic.
Yeah.
So we're not. When,
See,
when people bring up these things, and I get why people do because we're so close to America.
Yeah.
That we just assume that because it's so similar, like, oh, I got a prime minister and we got blah blah blah. And they think that it's because it's so similar, it's the same. It's
Don't you
actually
guys
not the
want to
same.
know what I would do? I would let them march, but I would ensure that the public education system is really robust, and I would teach about the horrors of Nazism and the horrors of prejudice and the horrors of racism, so that they would have some perspective of what those people are doing.
Would you also teach about the horrors of capitalism?
Yeah.
And as long as you do it across the board, religion, everything, atheism.
As
long as you do that,
education
then
is now, unfortunately, it's kind of watered down a little bit. Too clean.
Extremely watered down.
The whole freedom of speech thing and freedom thing in general is interesting to me because I forget who I was talking to, but posed the statement of like, okay, freedom of speech and freedom to express yourself that's fine, but where do you draw the line where, you're free to do what you want until what about when your freedom starts affecting my freedom? How does that work?
Give me an example.
So
I can do that quite easily.
Go ahead.
As long as it doesn't immediately and specifically and negatively affect another person in a material sense, it should be allowed. Now, it becomes problematic. Say if I we were talking about this, remember? Running naked down the street.
Yeah.
That should be legal.
Mm-hmm.
That's just social mores that says you can't do it. There's no harm. Which reminds me of when I first met my wife, we were in an Italian restaurant. We decided to go to the bathroom together. And a cop came in, and she was sitting. Well, anyway.
yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, that kind of stuff should be completely legal. It hurts nobody. Because at the exact same time, it's perfectly acceptable to go to war and murder millions. That's okay. But you can't have sex in a bathroom.
Yeah.
Really? Well, that's pretty twisted, isn't it? If it doesn't harm anyone specifically, directly, and immediately, I'd say fair game.
Why do we only define the harm as material?
Because the other one is so subjective. If I say I'm offended or hurt by it, now there's a gray zone. Say, for example, if I was to run up and down St. John's for 2 or 3 hours and every person that wasn't completely white, I screamed that they should go back to their country, I think that's breaching what would be acceptable.
That's where it gets interesting, right? Because technically, they're not doing anything material.
They're not.
They're not taking anything away from you.
They're not.
But they're clearly making a very large group of people uncomfortable to not only just be around, but to just do their daily, like what they're doing in general. Like
So-
they're
I'll tell you what it begs the question of, though. Should that person be incarcerated? Should that person be put through the penal system? Should that person be intervened with a policeman?
Yeah.
Or should it be considered some sort of humanitarian concern without the law intervening? Right? Because obviously the person's imbalanced. We might argue that, right?
Yeah.
I would suggest they are. They don't belong in the penal system. They don't belong with police intervention. They don't belong in prison, which is probably where they'll end up, right?
yeah.
Not always. I think there's no responsibility for me to make someone feel comfortable in society. I don't think that's
Because we were
That's
talking
a
about that
burden.
before, remember?
Yeah,
At least
I-
indirectly.
Yeah, we were, and I have the same view as I had then. I don't think that somebody like this whole LGBTQ stuff like this kind of.
But
links
would you
into it.
allow that person to run up and down St. John's for 5 hours at a time, screaming at children? Let's just give an example.
Yeah.
For 5 hours every day,
Yeah,
Monday to Friday, noon to 5.
but this is the thing,
365 days a year.
Daniel.
Yes.
That's not gonna last 365 days a year because there's a guy like me that's not gonna withstand that, right?
Yeah,
You're
but
gonna punch that guy in the
you
face.
can't do that because now you're affecting them materially. Like now you're infringing on his freedom.
No, I understand that, but
So-
what I'm saying is like the world isn't gonna go based on all these rules all the time. People are gonna break rules.
Yeah, there's certain places where the rules are upheld more than they are here, right? So
Sure.
that's why it's interesting that this is like it's a thought experiment, is
Yeah,
what it is,
for
right?
sure.
Because
There are people
You-
like that
you
would do
can-
that if you let them.
you can take
Oh, yeah, for
countries
sure.
countries that you and I know pretty well, countries like Japan, for example, that are much more extreme on the rule side of things.
Oh, they're
where,
very integrated
where in Japan,
culturally.
you can't even have like they're so about like decorum and appearance. You can't
Yes.
even have clothes hanging off your balcony to dry. Police will come and be like, "Yo, we're issuing you a fine because you have your fucking shirt that's hanging on the balcony."
They're much more socially unified.
Over here, you'd be like, "Excuse me, like I'm gonna hang my fucking underwear if I want. Like,
Yeah.
go away." So it's
They have machines that can sell underwear. I think. Seriously.
they have machines to sell anything there.
Disposable underwear.
Yeah. So it's just an interesting experiment because you by answering that question, you almost define for yourself like what do you prefer and where would you almost want to live if not here, kind of thing, right? Because there's people that
Korea.
they figure that out for themselves.
North
Or
or
you would not
south?
fit in Korea, man. Well,
North or south?
South, obviously. North would be just a vacation. Hang out with Il Jong-un, whatever the fuck his name is.
bro, you'd freak out after like a year.
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah, you would.
Bro, I've
Probably.
lived worse, man. I've lived in Azerbaijan with no family income. We would literally steal. Daniel, we would steal bread and shit after
live.
school to live.
Yeah, but what I mean is like they're much more prepared to essentially punish you for all that.
Yeah, but I
So-
think Azerbaijan was like a broken state at that point. It was like a bunch of Savakis, which is like Russian
Yeah.
military
But
around.
South Korea's not a broken state.
Not now, but you know,
When
there's-
you go there, get ready.
Yeah.
Get
When
ready
you-
for Armand.
when
I
you
would
go there.
err on the side of looking the other way as much as I possibly could,
Yeah.
until or unless it became so problematic that I was limited in my choices, and I wouldn't enlist the police, and I wouldn't enlist the courts, and I wouldn't enlist the legal system.
How did you think the whole convoy thing was handled in general? Do you think that could have been done better? Or do you think that was just about as good as they could have done it?
I think they stood out of the way, firstly because they didn't know what was going on, and it was difficult to predict, and they let it go on for quite a while. We weren't living there, right?
Yeah, true.
And I think they probably finally had to act, whether it was within the Constitution or not is an open question.
Oh, well, I mean, they're going through that right now.
Well, it was disruptive, there's no
Yeah.
question of that.
Yeah.
And it made it difficult for people to live their functional lives in the same way that it would be if that guy's running up and down St. John for 5 hours a day screaming.
Worse if you had like 100
So
people.
this is my question: Why is the
Similar.
protests? Why is the protest in Iran acceptable worldwide, but this convoy isn't?
Because people believe more in what they're fighting for.
So it's just self-belief.
Not self-belief.
You can't protest in Iran at all. Iran, right?
Iran.
Yeah. And they're starting to kill them off, I assume.
They already killed a rapper that was
5 or 6?
No, they've killed into the hundreds.
Or have they?
Yeah. So a lot of the media isn't actually reflected here. Like the information that we get is purely subjective from over there. It's kind of like getting information out of North Korea.
I think partly, and this is just my opinion from what I've seen, comparing both what you just mentioned, like what's going on in Iran and what happened here. I feel that people sometimes are more willing to support something when they feel that someone's being oppressed, truly oppressed. So they're more willing to fight for the underdog,
So
especially when it's a state versus people kind of
You
thing.
can make the argument that the whole COVID rules were oppressing the truckers.
No, we have no. Like,
Come on, man.
people here.
No,
No,
we
come
can
on.
ta-
Let's be real. The people here have way more power compared to the state than they do. Like you just said, bro. Nobody here is gonna get killed for any protest. That's just no one's gonna. Police will not show up with like AKs or ARs and start like fucking.
Let's talk
even
about the
rubber
freedom
bullets.
of anti-vaxxers for just 1 second. Let me ask you guys a question. So you come up to a stoplight, and it's red. Do you have the freedom to drive right through? Because if you argue you do have the freedom to drive right through, then you have the freedom to infect others. And if you argue you have a social responsibility, which we talked about lots, right?
Yeah.
Then you can't. You must stop. And since we live in a society and not alone, you can't be an anti-vaxxer and be responsible. It's
No.
not possible.
Comes
to
back
do
to
so.
being consistent.
So
right?
it really goes down to freedoms and then public responsibility. You're
Yep.
publicly responsible to get vaccinated, and
Yeah, your freedom has to stop when you start hurting others, and by some tangible, immediate, definable manner, I would suggest.
the problem
at the
is
least.
like we're talking about us sheep. We're not talking about the freedoms of the elite, right? They don't even get affected by these things.
I mean, the billionaire class?
Yeah, they don't get affected by the vaccinations, the traffic, the taxation.
The 0.1%, as they are sometimes called. There is a billionaire class, and there is class warfare, and they do live separate than us, and they do live extraordinarily elitist lives, and they aren't taxed, and they do live above the law. All those things are true, and they're all unfair, and they make the society we live in a mess in part because of them. There should be a fairer distribution of wealth, Martin Luther King et al.
As time goes on and time progresses, people generally in the working class have to work more jobs, more hours to afford the same things of 20 years ago. Like right now, I'm working, a sketchy business and 2 jobs. Hector's working a fucking job. My mom is 64 and working
Bro,
60
I'm like
hours
barely
a week.
working.
Would you like a quick...
Don't put me in that. I'm barely
Like,
working.
Hector's
Don't put me in
lazy.
that. Don't put me in that
Hector's-
class.
he's a
man. Get
lazy
the hell outta here.
Mexican,
I put in my 10 years. I'm fucking off
Yeah.
right now.
I'll give you a quick reference as to why that came about. It does have a liberal bias, but what the hell? In the 70s, there was something called the Reagan-Thatcher Revolution. Okay? And there was a huge deregulation in the banking industry. They got rid of what's called Glass-Steagall so that the banks could become massively large and hugely influential. The unions were broken, starting with the air traffic controllers in the U.S.
Oh, I remember that actually. That was pretty big.
Yeah, right, it was.
The traffic controllers.
That's right.
That's why I started working like 24-hour shifts. Yeah.
So with minimum wage held back, with the unions broken, with what's called financialization, that's the banks became stunningly huge, Bear Stearns and all that kind of stuff, it's difficult for the working stiff to make ends meet.
Yeah.
At the same time, there was something called asset appreciation. Houses, they went up a lot. Stocks, they went up a lot. Interest rates went down till recently, right? All those things helped people who could accumulate assets and hurt the average working person. There was a time, and it wasn't that long ago, that one person could, on one income, buy a house and look after wife and kids. Not a chance now.
What a good life that was, huh?
For some, you'd have to be a white boy.
True.
Listen, I mean,
Basically.
I'm a sand nigger and I will fucking rock that life. Listen, get a Korean wife,
Yeah.
shut her ass up, make her obedient, and just work one job and then have like 3 kids or something.
In the 50s and 60s, if you lived in Michigan, you could get a job in automotive or
Yeah,
Ontario.
yeah.
And you could make an excellent living with a high school education or less, with a strong union behind you. And that's almost impossible now. Almost impossible.
Hector, we're fucked.
I
And
don't know,
at
I'm
the
feeling
same
pretty good.
time, you've got to...
You just have this mentality where it's like it's not enough.
Nothing's enough. I
Yeah,
like right
so
now
you-
I grow somewhere along of like mid 100,000 and it's not enough.
Yeah,
But
like
your tax rate is stunning, by the way.
You are
Yeah.
you are
I'm
in
at
the,
like a 48. I'm going to be at like a 48 this
Whereas the
year.
billionaire class, their tax rate is almost zero.
Yeah.
you're in the top 10% of people our age.
Yeah.
Like, and that's generous. That's not even like getting specific.
And it's gonna get better.
That's
though.
safe.
It's
And-
gonna
I
get
got-
better.
I got a
and
question
yet,
for you.
and yet it's not enough. You know what I mean?
never gonna be
So
Hey, Mr. Richman, I got a question.
I'm
for
not that rich, man. That's why it's not enough.
If you could avoid paying income tax entirely,
Yeah.
would you feel bad about doing so?
No, he
Fuck
wouldn't.
no.
I remember.
What if the people around you were getting hungry because
doesn't
of it?
matter? For
I'd
this
feel
guy, doesn't
better.
matter.
I would feel better.
There was a very so we tried doing a podcast like what 5-6 years ago now.
Yeah.
And
Right out of prison.
Yeah, it
'Cause
was.
Some people argue that there should be no taxes.
It was like four of us, and that exact question actually
yeah.
came up,
Does all the time.
and Armand's contention is like, yeah, I don't. He just, I don't know. I don't think you were just complaining, but you just brought up the idea of just not paying taxes. Period. Income
Yeah.
tax, sales, whatever. Just fuck tax essentially. And then
Well, that is an argument for the freedom ideal.
the rest of us kind of just counter that by saying like, hey man,
You
that's
couldn't-
fine, but then you can no longer complain about not having social services.
You couldn't have a functional society.
So
and yet the
you
ultra
can't have
rich,
both.
The ultra rich do almost exactly
True.
that.
Yeah.
They don't pay for the roads. They don't pay for the medical. They don't pay for the police. They don't pay for the court systems. They don't pay for all the things that we pay for.
Mm-hmm.
They get the free ride.
Yeah. It's nice being at the top.
It's nice being at the top, man. It's nice being at the top. But
If that gets too out of balance, the ultra rich societies tend to become unstable.
Yeah.
Tend
now
to
is that
collapse.
a good thing? Like, do we want the ultra rich to be unstable, or do we want the working
No,
class to be
it's like
unstable?
everything. It's you get a societal
trickles down, yeah.
No, you get a societal collapse at that point.
Oh, trickle down. That doesn't actually work. That's been around since the 70s, and it turns out,
It's a scam.
yeah, that the rich get richer, and the wealth and concentration gets to a smaller and smaller fraction, and the rest of us pay stunningly high taxes.
Yeah.
What's interesting is that when you analyze like societal collapses, and we've had a few recent ones. I mean, like one of the Venezuela was a pretty recent one.
Sure.
People generally won't revolt to a large scale as long as they have the basic needs met. It's like shelter, food. It's really about it. There's like one more. There's the food, shelter, and there's like one other one.
Sex.
Yeah, sure.
Accommodation.
Yeah.
Yeah, Venezuela's a failed state. It's unfortunate.
If you take
so
away
rich.
one of those basic needs, you get collapse really quick. I think there's like a famous saying. It's like you're only like 2 paychecks away. Something like, what is it? It's like you're only it's either 2 paychecks away or like something away from like a societal collapse anywhere.
Yeah.
So as long as people have those basic things, they're fine. So in America here, people talk about like, oh my God, as long as those things are there, they'll generally take it in the ass.
well,
the
you
working
know,
class.
all the hate and anger and shall we call it Trumpism that is quite popular. A lot of that has to do with the fact that those people are extraordinarily poor.
Yeah.
They don't have a proper public education system anymore. They're paid crapola wages. Their chances of success are minimized. They're frustrated and angry. And they turn to somebody who claims they can fix it.
Well, that's the basis of populism.
Yeah, it is.
So you see it all.
And they're not entirely wrong in their feelings, by the way.
No, I mean-
they are kind of getting ripped.
Yeah.
And they hear about their multi-billion-dollar 0.1 percenters, and they think, shit.
Well, the basis is sound because they're saying, okay, you know what, you guys are being stiffed. You guys are like, so people feel like they're being heard. Like, yes, you know, like finally someone's listening to our struggle. The issue that I found with populism in general is that no one actually ends up doing anything about it. They'll talk like, all right, guys, you know what? Yes, you guys are being screwed. I'm going to bring more jobs, do blah, blah, blah.
They will not.
And then nothing ends up happening.
Only if
Because they're not really in charge, guys. Like these guys that we think that are in charge are not in charge. Like Trudeau's not in charge.
the
Trump is in
corporations
charge.
aren't, for the most part. It's something called regulatory capture, where corporations actually end up writing the laws and writing the tax laws.
Would
that
you
and I have to live with.
consider the Pentagon a corporation?
I'd have to look up the term. I will look it up.
You know, one of the best investments they say in America is?
Military-industrial complex.
No, Congress.
Yeah.
Only takes 30 grand
There's that.
ish to bribe, not even bribe. Like, this is legit, right? You can lobby a congressman.
It is cheap.
And you can get so much like that. The ROI on investing in a congressman or a senator is through the fucking roof.
So the Pentagon is not a corporation by direct definition because it says it's a legally established entity that can enter into contracts, okay, in part, right, so far. Own assets, yes. Incur debt, sort of.
Not really.
as well as sue and be sued. There's the problem. Good luck with that in the Pentagon.
Yeah. They're
So
printing
no.
paper, paying their fucking lawyers with the printed paper. How are you gonna do that?
So I would suggest to you it might have some elements of a corporation, but it would be above a corporate structure.
I think the only people that should be able to print paper that easily are crooks. Guys like
I'm
me.
sorry, what?
Well,
You know what I mean? Because,
central banks can effectively.
but the problem is, it's like that affects the lower class the most rather than the upper class.
Bro, you know what? Maybe you should fuck software and just get into like finance. Just be a white collar crook.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
that is one
think-
of the most highly paid for the skill level stockbroker, anything in the big
Telling
bank
you, man.
sector.
I might
There's no question of
might
it.
pick up day trading.
Because no, fuck day trading.
I
Because
might
like your
pick that up.
hood tendencies might actually get you further than you think.
That's the thing. I don't-
$250,000 a year is
It's
not that hard to get within
Some
finances.
cutthroat shit over there that you
Yeah.
have no problems with. You know what I mean?
No, I would not have a problem with
Exactly.
slitting throats. But
Yeah.
my thing is
Just
is
be an asset manager.
I think
1%.
There you go.
yeah.
Of a $20 million portfolio with 20 different people each owning $1 million, and you got $200,000 a year, and I won't even use my calculator for that. And that's just for starters.
He's gonna call me in a week and be like, "Yo, you know what?
I'm changing my major.
Maybe,
It is
maybe
stunning.
fintech. Maybe fintech.
It's stunningly well
Yeah.
remunerated, the finance industry. Not being a teller for a bank. I don't mean that.
No.
It took me a while to get interested in software, but I'd say I'm at a point where I am actually interested in the languages and like creating the actual product. But finance and stuff like that, man, that shit just bores me. Like I don't even know how. Like Vic went into it. I don't even know how the fuck he went into
Well,
it.
he didn't. He did, and
No,
then
no,
he
he did, but then
no,
like,
yeah, but then he didn't.
I'm
know what I
the
mean?
type of guy where like I love money, but like to an extent, right? To an extent.
You
I'm
got to
not
go to
gonna
either Bay Street, preferably Wall Street.
Yeah.
I can't go to the States, so that's all
Bay
down the
Street
drain.
would do in a pinch. And you got to come. Well, you should go to a school that is recognized.
Yeah.
Not because you're going to learn anything, because of the connections you make.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll see. But day trading is something that I might pick up.
No, you don't want to do that.
No? Why not?
How much time you got?
Enough.
Like in life or tonight?
In life, about 18,000 days.
Okay.
Tonight, like 2 hours.
If you want to invest, there are two principles that you need to consider. The first one is called the random walk hypothesis, and the second one is the efficient market theory. And I'll make it real simple for you.
Write that shit down, dude. Write that shit down.
Yeah.
You want to buy and hold long-term strategy of index funds that have extraordinarily low MERs.
I've heard of this.
Yes.
Like invest in your
Index funds.
broad index funds.
Yes. They hold every single security weighted by capitalization, most particularly. They don't buy and sell and trade. You get what the market gets after fractional expenses, the MER.
But this is a long-term hold.
Yep.
Okay.
20 years.
Yeah.
And you'll get what the market gets. The chances of you doing better than the market on average over time is negligible because everyone constitutes the entire market. It's theoretically, statistically impossible for any majority of them to do better than the market. It's not
Because
possible.
then if they
are the
were,
market,
then
Yeah,
they
that's
yeah.
it.
Oh, dude. I like tonight, man.
Our
I'm
guy
fucking
Daniel
learning,
comes
bro.
in, man. Comes in and teaches
What was the
us.
second one? You said there were two.
Oh, there's the efficient market hypothesis, which we were sort of discussing a little bit, and then the random walk theory. The random walk theory essentially states that you can't predict what stocks are going to do because they're too random.
That's like the black swan theory, right?
I guess.
Yeah.
I don't think that's true.
It's your boy. That's
Well, a
actually
lot
your-
of people
that's
claim
from
that-
that's from your boy, buddy.
A lot of people claim that they can beat the market.
Taleb.
But remember what you're trying to do. If you select individual securities as opposed to buying them all, the only way that you can argue that you're going to do better after taxes and after expenses is if you beat the market averages. Otherwise, you might as well buy the market average. In other words, you know the needle in the haystack analogy? Okay. You could look for that needle, or you could buy the fucking haystack. Which is more likely, statistically, to
Haystack.
produce... No kidding.
Yeah. Yeah.
You won't be able to boast
Yeah.
when you
True.
go to your cocktail dinners. you
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, you won't have extraordinary losses.
My thing is, why don't you do both?
You can.
Extensively long-term, but
Yeah.
then have some short-term
You can index the
profits.
majority of your portfolio and then take some speculative side things if you like, if you particularly think a company's going to do well. But remember, if you're going to try and beat the market even slightly by choosing, say, for example, IBM versus Apple. Can you predict what the future is going to bring in 20 years?
No.
Apple versus IBM?
Not really.
Well, then how are you going to know that Apple's better than IBM or vice versa? Let's say, for example, let's take companies in a different industry. Let's take Raytheon, which is part of the military-industrial complex, and we'll compare that to Nestle, right, which is a food services industry of sorts.
Yeah.
European more, I suppose. Which company's going to do better in the next 20 years? You tell me.
The first one.
Yeah, but with what like basis?
With what data?
Yeah. Feeling, gut feeling.
no.
You know what I mean?
Couple
That's
of
called fundamental analysis, by the way, the notion that you can, with present data, predict what will happen to the company.
Yeah.
The problem is, even if you know the health of the company at the moment, let's take Amazon, clearly a success story, right?
Yeah.
How do you know in 20 years? Because don't forget, you still have to hold the stupid stock.
Hold on. I know some, because I work in construction. I'm a
Sure.
super for Atwell right now. They've pulled a lot of contracts.
Right.
They've pulled like 15-year contracts.
Yeah, but they're
Right
still like
now.
one of the biggest companies in the world. So by that basis,
Relatively, they're doing, but they're
by
not.
that
Okay, but
basis, we're saying
my
that,
point
that
is,
they've done
though,
well.
how do you know from this point going forward, even if you analyzed, say, 15 or 20 companies, you were really good at that.
Yeah.
You found one represented better value than the other at this moment in time, or so it appears.
Mm.
What if the CEO has his fingers in the cookie jar?
FTX.
What if he dies?
Yeah.
What if the company has a stroke of bad luck of some sort? Can you really predict those things accurately enough over time to select, say, GM versus Volkswagen, even
No.
within the same industry sector?
No.
If you can't predict the future with any level of precision, then you have to abide by the random walk.
Yeah, but my notion is this: if somebody else has already done it, and they're doing it, then why can't I?
Because statistically, your chances are no better than chance.
You got to look at it from a pragmatic point of view.
Sure, but like, what's the other option?
What do you mean the other
Oh, you
option?
buy and hold the entire market
Yeah.
with index funds for a long period of time, say 10, 20 years. At a
Ride the
minimum,
average.
and you will be dragged along at whatever the averages do minus costs and taxes,
I think again,
which is exactly what I've done for 40.
just do both.
Somewhat.
I think you should
You
just do both.
can, but remember who you're competing against, assuming you want to figure out that, well, I don't know, some particular banking stock, say,
RBC.
Well, I guess
yeah, all right, but
the
that's not a
question
very
that-
big
the,
one.
the question then becomes how
How about
much.
Bear Stearns versus Bank of America? Which
How-
one's going to do better in the next 20 years?
Yeah, fuck if I know.
Well, no kidding.
Bank of
And don't
America.
forget, do you know how many analysts are attempting to do precisely that at this exact time?
So that was actually going to
Ryan.
be my follow up question was, sure, maybe fine. Let's assume that sure you want to do your now. How much better do you want to perform? How much better do you want to overperform? A little bit, a lot of bit. Because if it's a lot, man, you're talking about like statistically, like that being the top echelon.
And there's something else to
What-
consider too, by the way. There's something called risk.
Mm.
There's a risk-reward relationship. It's complicated. Won't go into it too much. But let's assume that you decide to select individual securities, right?
Mm.
And so you're not buying the entire market, and you entirely avoid certain companies because you like other ones better.
Mhm.
Well, that's effectively what you would have to do, wouldn't you?
Mm.
In order to be able to beat the market, you're going to have to say, I like Bank of America a hell of a lot better than Bear Stearns. So you don't buy Bear Stearns, you buy Bank of America.
Mhm.
Just as an example.
Yeah.
Or you buy Nestle, but you don't buy a Volkswagen. Let's just say, even though those are in different sectors.
Yeah.
Das Auto.
Right? You're going to have to make decisions.
Mhm.
That means you're going to attempt to predict what's going to happen in 20 years. But not only that, by decreasing the number of securities that you own, you inevitably increase the potential risk. Note I said potential, not actual.
Mhm.
Because you're limiting the size of your portfolio.
Yeah.
When you decrease the number of securities in your portfolio, and this is a statistical fact, the potential risk goes up to the point where if you had one stock, let's say you bought only Apple as opposed to the entire market, no matter how much you might be optimistic about Apple, I assure you that's riskier than holding the entire market. I guarantee you.
Yeah.
Apple could go bankrupt.
Mathematically speaking, it is.
Huge
And
companies
that's what
have
it is.
gone bankrupt.
Yeah.
You just kind of have to make that decision for yourself and be like, am I cool with that? Yes, no.
Some people live like sheep, and some people live like lions. You know, you got to take your route and go.
I would
with it.
suggest you to index the majority of it, say 80%. And if you have some fractional amount left over, say 20%, and you really think that you can beat the market averages for those ones, and you really think that Apple is better than Microsoft, let's just say, good luck with that, by the way, because how many stock analysts are attempting to do the same thing?
Day in, day out.
Yeah. And by the way, you may or may not know this, but most analysts underperform the market averages.
I've heard that too.
It's a fact.
Yeah.
So all those analysts, when you put them all together, underperform the averages because they make up the average.
Yeah.
And then they have to incur costs and taxes and such, which is why actively managed mutual funds make no sense. It's not that some don't beat the market; they do, but they don't do it with any consistency or predictability.
And they don't make up the average, which is the biggest thing.
So you might as well just, as sometimes said, blindfold yourself, get a stock chart, stick it on the wall, and throw darts at it for all the difference it's likely to make, over time.
Yeah.
Because don't forget, if you can't beat the market averages, you might as well buy the market averages because they represent the least risk.
Yeah.
Decrease the size of your portfolio and risk inevitably goes up.
So basically trade with a head of a lion and a body of a sheep.
Don't
80%, 80% long term, 20% short term.
Now, you might know, for example, that this last year or so, stocks have collapsed
Yeah, they have.
seriously, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
Now, that's another thing. There's no such thing as market timing. You can't do it. Not reliably, not consistently. You might win once in a while, but over time, the likelihood is that you will lose.
I've
So you're
won
right.
once and lost 9 times.
Yeah.
Sure.
There you go. Yeah, that's math.
Only Dogecoin I won. That's the only one I won.
It's not even a market.
Best thing is the long term. It's bland. It's boring. There's also something called dollar cost averaging. I don't know if
Yeah,
you guys...
DCA. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Always DCA.
So you put a specific amount in per month, whether the stocks
no
are
matter
going-
what. Yeah.
And here's another one for you. Warren Buffett. Famous quote. Should you be happy? Because you guys are young, right?
Relative, yeah, of course.
Relatively.
Compared to me, anyway,
yeah,
I'm an old fuck.
Yeah.
Okay. Should you be happy if your stock portfolio appreciates over the next 5 years? It goes up. Let's say it goes up 30%. Should you guys be happy?
Yeah.
No.
If it goes up 30%.
You should be unhappy because you are in the accumulation phase, yes?
Oh.
So would you be happy for paying more for hamburgers in 5 years? Think about it. What you really want is for the next 5, 10, 15 years for stocks to go down as you do your dollar cost averaging into them.
Right.
You don't really want... I want them to go up because I'm at the point...
He's
in which-
already,
Right.
Cash out.
Yeah.
You guys would actually be should be really, really happy over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years if stocks went to
Now's
shit.
the time, yeah.
Now's
For
the time
us.
to buy.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's
Yeah.
right. Remember, they are symbolic or representative of ownership of companies. They're not just fake pieces of paper. They are real.
Yeah.
You become an owner of a company, and if you own enough of them,
People forget that. They just buy stock and they're like, whatever. But in
it's representative.
practice, you're a stakeholder.
That's right.
Might not be a lot. You might have like a fucking
Well,
0.001. But still,
That doesn't matter.
But still, you're invested. That's the whole point. That you're invested into the company. Right?
So the fact that the stock market has gone down for you guys is a fucking fantastic thing, and you should continue on with your disciplines of dollar cost averaging.
DCA in, buddy.
Yes.
DCA, buddy.
DCA.
You shouldn't be happy if they go up. Anyone under about 30 or 40 should be unhappy if their stock portfolio appreciates because they're in the accumulation phase.
Yeah.
Enough of that. So there you go.
Appreciate that though.
Sure, man.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I learned. Took a while.
I bet.
Cheers to that. Capitalism.
Capitalism
Yeah.
or
There's-
anti-capitalism.
There's some evil aspects to all that, by the way, as I'm sure you know, because I own the oil majors and they're destroying the planet.
Are you in the Canadian oil?
No, I don't own any Canadian stocks at all, and I'll tell
okay.
you why. No Canadian securities. I have a whack of domestic Canadian real estate. All my pensions are denominated in Canadian currency. The last thing I need is Canadian assets, so I have none.
Right.
It's balanced on an international basis, weighted heavily in the U.S. and Europe, of course, right?
Right.
And some emerging markets. But no,
Did your career ever take you places, travel wise?
nope. Just inside my head.
Shit.
I love that. I travel every day, bro.
Yeah. Just not in any way you can see from the outside.
That's interesting. I feel like just moving on to a different topic. social media is kind of brainwashing morale.
Morale.
Can we say that? Not even morale, just morals,
Oh, morals. Yeah. Okay.
right?
Okay.
Because
Yeah, but you're a nihilist, man. You ain't got no morals.
Yeah, bro.
Or
yeah.
are you going prag? Are you going prag on us?
No, I do have I don't have like
He's pragging out on us, man.
I'm pragging, bro.
Bro,
I love
you're
that.
pragging.
What I'm talking about is like for the opposite sex. So as time goes on, it seems that women have less and less shittier morals over time because their role models.
You mean more and more shitty?
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, I was like,
more
wait a
and
second.
more shitty.
What do you mean by morals? How quickly they go to bed?
Just like we've gone so far away from what a traditional woman is and their roles.
What, buttoned up and
Exactly. Buttoned up,
Virginal?
legs crossed, virginal, all that. Right? Because that's what we want, man. We want purity, bro. We don't want
what happened to experience?
I mean, I could teach her experience, right? That's where I gain
Hey,
experience.
How crude can I be, by the way?
You can be a.
Oh, dude.
Let it fly on this podcast,
Come on.
man.
Well, I
Worst
can tell
case
you this for
scenario,
a fact.
we'll just beep it.
There's really a skill in hand jobs, and virgins cannot do it.
That's fine. I'm
They
okay
just
with
can't.
that. But
and,
I'm okay
and the
with
hand
that.
job is incredibly underrated.
When's the last time you got a hand job from a girl?
Like a proper one.
Yeah.
I've
A prop- not,
I honestly,
I'm gonna
bro,
be honest.
not some sort of rough
That's not
jerky
something-
thing, but something with some
No,
you know,
yeah.
some
torque. Torque? Yeah.
with some
fucking-
class and some suave, you know, and some lube and
Wait, you're gonna be honest? What?
I've never gotten a hand job in my life.
Really?
Like actually where the purpose was the hand job.
Yo, you got some time after the podcast or what?
I can tell you this for an absolute fact. A virgin wouldn't even know what end is up.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's where we come in, right?
Well, then you're going to be stuck with penis and vagina sex and a hell of a lot of training ahead of you.
It's okay. I'm a good trainer. I have my training,
Got his
personal training license.
License.
You know, I can definitely go in. I rather deal
There is
with that.
porn. You can always like a stick her in front of
Yeah, just give her some
the
virtual
video
classes.
Virtual classes.
and
Yeah.
tape her eyelids open for the next half
some
hour. and see how-
Zoom meetings.
The thing is like the downside of being a virgin is just mostly sexual. The upside of being a virgin is a lot of good fucking morals. The downside of a slut.
A good hand job's underrated, man.
Yeah, okay, but that's
That's all I
about
can
it.
say.
Name something else. Right? Like that's it. Just like if you're getting a
Oh, the classic striptease. I doubt a virgin's very good at it.
Yeah, but like why is that even that important? Don't you want like a good mother rather than or somebody that's going to be obedient?
Why?
Obedience.
And less argumentative? Or do you want
Well,
somebody
that-
who is more argumentative, can give you bomb fucking hand jobs left and right?
But why
Just
does that have to
gargle your balls?
Why does it have to be together? Why
hand,
does
hand
it?
jobs are
it
pretty
seems,
important.
Why
it
does
seems that
some-
it is together. If you look at just strictly patterns, you see that girls that are experienced are more argumentative, and girls that are less experienced are more obedient.
I think some women just don't understand the benefits of a really good hand job.
Fucking
That's
Daniel,
gonna be the
man.
title of the. That's gonna be the caption of the video. It's gonna
Yeah,
be like right there.
No, I don't think we could even post that on YouTube. The benefits
we
of
can't,
a
no,
good
we can't
hand
type that out.
job.
We can't type that out. No.
But
But we're
There's,
like
there's a
asterisk.
certain
We're gonna
satisfaction when
keep
you
it
walk
in.
away from a woman who's more than capable of providing a first-class,
I
supreme
have to explore this one, man.
hand job.
Listen,
I don't
man.
know, man. I don't know.
It's completely underrated.
I
Telling you, man.
I have like a
I'm convinced.
I think I have a disability in my head where when it comes to hand jobs, like it could be the best hand job in the fucking world. She could have thousands under her belt. And when it comes to me, it's just I feel like I got to get more from a girl to come.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But most of them do it like they're peeling a potato or something.
Well, how do you expect someone to give you a good hand job when they don't have the fucking part to work on? It's like having a
Yeah.
mechanic that's never
Well,
worked on a
hold on.
Maserati.
Wait.
Hold
So
on.
how can-
never worked on a
Flip it.
Maserati?
Flip it
then
then.
you're like, hey, put a supercharger on this Maserati.
Well,
He's
flip
gonna
it
be
then.
like,
How are you? You don't have a vagina,
Yeah.
so
It's-
I'm not as good.
It's
I'm not as
complicated.
good.
oh, you're not.
I'm not going to be as good as a
No,
girl.
sure
Some
not
women
as
have an
good.
intuitive sense about it. They just somehow have the magic hands. It's pretty rare.
Would you not say you're good?
Sluts go through genetics.
Would you not say you're good?
Good at what?
Well, come on, man. You're a guy with work
Licking
with your
the
hands.
puss?
No, I didn't talk about that. We're talking hands here, bruh.
Giving hand jobs, handies to girls.
What?
What are we talking about?
Yeah,
here?
man, making her come with your fucking hands.
Yeah,
Why do
but
I have to spell this out for you, man?
But
That's
was
an
that
art
was
too.
that?
That's not that easy either because
Yes.
each woman
No.
has her own
No.
thing going
I
on.
understand.
I'd say it's even harder.
No, but
It's
the
a journey.
question was, would you describe yourself as good?
Do not
Relatively, yes.
do not go for
And
the sugar plum
why
first.
is that, given that you don't have a vagina?
Experience.
Okay. So, but you're still good at it. You know what I mean? You don't
Not
have the
compar-
facilities.
But
Sure.
you guys, you're too preoccupied with getting the girl to come. That is not the priority.
She could not come and still have a kid by just me coming.
Yes, scientifically speaking.
Yeah, but the purpose here.
What I mean is, you want to
isn't-
make her happy,
Mm.
which just might make her feel comfortable and relaxed. Not necessarily come. Maybe depends on the girl.
Mm.
Maybe you can go from multi-orgasmic on the one hand to a girl that just gets aroused and never really comes in the normal sense of the word.
I mean, to be fair, yeah, I have actually experienced both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel like Asian girls
They're
are the
really
easiest
happy
to
about
come.
it and everything. They want to be with you and all this stuff.
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
They don't go, oh.
Mhm.
They just don't.
Oh, it's tragic.
I thought so too a long time ago. Now I'm not so sure. Now, as far as I can tell,
Mm.
Oh, I don't give a fuck if a girl comes or not. Fuck her.
I used to.
You don't give a fuck if anybody gets what they want.
No,
Okay,
as long as I
that's-
just get what I want.
yeah, exactly.
Fuck everybody else.
It's a very consistent mentality you have.
I know.
Guys
I'm
are
a
more
consistent
clearly
guy.
orgasm oriented.
Absolutely.
Almost
Pragmatic.
always.
Listen,
Yeah,
if,
for sure.
If I have
Goal-oriented.
sex with the same girl 3 times,
At once or just over time?
no, just over time or at once.
How much
doesn't-
time?
We're talking like minimum
A week.
10 minutes?
A week.
a week. We're talking like 20 minutes averages.
I see.
Okay,
20
minute 20-minute averages.
Yeah.
If I don't come in those 3 20-minute periods,
Yes.
she's got some trash puss, bro.
Okay.
She's got to like. I gotta start implementing things. I gotta start implementing fetishes, all that just to get going. And like that's too much work, man. It's too much work.
Yeah, the fantasy thing.
Like first
Damn,
2, 3
right? I'm gonna
times-
just pick up that fucking name you dropped. It's
First 2
cut
3
back here.
times it was okay, but then eventually I'm the type of guy where I get used to sex fast. So like
Well, you have just like you said, consistency. It's chronic dissatisfaction. It's
Yeah.
not just with sex. It's with a lot of things. It's with money. It's with
You got a dark
achievements.
There's,
Oh,
there's a dark element.
Welcome
going
to
on
my
there.
boy.
let me
Yeah.
let me
Welcome
explain
to my
something to you.
boy.
I
Tell you about
I
it.
resonated with the Joker much more than Batman every fucking time.
Well, Joker's pretty. I mean, Batman's pretty dark too, though.
He's a
As far as
pussy.
superheroes go, he's as dark as fuck. This guy will kill people. Superman won't kill people.
Daniel,
you
do
need meaning. You need a purpose and a meaning and something clear. And I think I got the answer.
What is it?
AK-47.
Listen, that's on the way. It's
How
on
did he
route.
know? How did he
How
know?
did he know?
How did he know?
This guy knows me. Yeah, because I do have illegal handguns that aren't registered. It would be nice to not have to.
But then that's not legal.
No, but like just
Think
to
of the
carry
power and the purpose you got with that beautiful machine in your hand.
on. Oh, it's so nice because you know that like you can fight, but also at the time you could cock that thing and just fucking, be a reaper, right? That there's some freedoms that comes with that, right?
How much discipline do you think you'd have as a military commander
I think if I started young, a lot,
in your current state?
not enough.
Like, would you be flipping that switch for that UAV a bit too many times?
I'd be blowing up
Ordering
cities
that
left and
airstrike?
right.
Yeah, see,
I'd be
that's
blowing
a
up
problem.
cities left and right, not sleeping just fine.
Too much power. Because all you could do is
Sleeping
be
just
like,
fine.
hey, Private Jones,
Slit their throats.
yeah,
Fuck
see,
it.
yeah, that's a problem.
And
Yeah.
where does religion fall into the military?
I don't think religion falls anywhere unless it makes you a better person.
Virtually all the military elements in any of the countries has a religious component.
Mm.
They do.
Mm.
They got padres and everything in there telling
Yeah.
us God is on
Our
our
side.
side.
Yeah.
Or their side.
Yeah.
Means my God's better, bigger than yours.
Mm-hmm.
So I had this Jesus fucking extremist come up to me. Literally, the guy stands on Moody and St. John's and just puts up a sign, Jesus is coming.
Did you do a
Does
couple
he
of
scream
burpees?
at little kids for 5 hours a day?
Probably.
Did
Yeah.
you do some burpees for him?
No.
Oh,
So
damn.
I went up to him and I'm like, what are you doing here? He's like, God is coming. And if you don't praise him, you're going to go to hell.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, what if I never knew about this? Would I still go to hell? If I never knew about God and his rules and his implications, would I still go to hell? Would he still put me in hell knowing that I don't know about him?
Yeah.
And he said no. Then I'm like, then you're not doing me a service by telling me about this.
Oh yeah.
Right? You're not doing me a service. Because when you let me know and you enlighten me on God and his rules,
But he
and his
doesn't know that you
implications,
don't know.
Yeah.
if he's explaining it to me, then he knows that I don't know.
Just argue polytheism instead of monotheism. Say, well, which one are you talking about, buddy?
I think Hector's religious. I'm pure atheist.
Uh-oh.
And
We've discussed it many times.
we've discussed this. I've known Hector since high school, so over like 10, 15 years. And
Did you know that atheism is actually a religion in its absolute sense?
yes, but I don't think I'm an
talked about that.
absolutist. Yeah, we are. Yeah, we have. And
Because
I
if you
honestly
deny
think,
the existence of any potential for creation in a supernatural fashion, that's just as unprovable
as being
As-
religious.
as
Yes.
claiming that there is one
yeah.
in its absolute sense.
We literally talked about this 10 minutes before you came.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And the thing is like even LGBTQT is religious. You're telling me to like Daniel, you have no problem addressing people with the pronouns that they want.
I don't care.
Me personally, it's like that's a religion. You are restricting my speech. You are restricting how I address you. If I see you, like Shab said,
I
Shab
so want to
said,
see where you're going with this. I just don't think the words are coming out right. Like
Let's
I
put-
understand.
Is that
the
really
logic.
one of the top 10 things that the world really needs to address at this exact moment in time, considering we're on the verge of either blowing ourselves the fucking kingdom come with a nuclear weapon or wiping us off the planet with climate change or pollution? And you want to put how you address someone in the top 10? Top
I don't
100?
think it's
Top
in the top 10.
1,000?
I think the only reason I address it is because they're the loudest.
I would suggest to you that doesn't even belong in the top 1,000.
Not at all. Because if we slit all the LGBTQT throats right now today, what's the population?
It's insignificant.
Yeah, it's like less than 1% of the world. So it's like, why do we even give a fuck? It's just that they're the loudest.
Yeah, but the culture war dickwads amplify certain things to try and polarize politics.
Just polarize everything, man. That's how they divide us. They polarize everything and they make divisions.
There's a
across
classic
us.
adage. It's called live and let live. It still holds water perfectly fine. And there's a golden rule, too. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And that predates any Christianity, by the way. The only exception is if you're into S&M. It's a joke.
Yeah, I got
I
it.
mean,
I got
Hector,
it.
you're
Do
into
unto
S&M
others
or-
as you would have them do unto you.
I've dabbled.
And if you're into S&M, that
How
might
so?
not be the best choice.
Don't worry about it.
Come on,
Next
man.
podcast, bro.
Jesus.
It's like vanilla shit, man. Like,
Like what?
fucking some rope, some fucking restraints, like whatever. I mean, I ain't getting fucking tied up in no dungeon.
Did Jesus approve of this?
Listen,
Yes.
man, that's between
Well,
you
he went on the
Jesus.
cross, man.
Motherfucker was already into S&M. For sure.
I mean,
You're
that
the
was
BDSM.
That was forced. That was forced. So that's a bit
Maybe he
diff-
liked it. You
bit
don't
different.
know. You don't know.
Guess I'll have to ask him. I'll ask him when I get up there.
Yeah, give me a
I'll ask
couple of
him- I'll ask him
bismillahs
for
when
you.
you're up there too.
I'll send you some picture
Ask
mail.
Allah if I'm on the good list.
So do you
or not.
believe in original sin then?
Honestly,
Because that's a problem.
Yeah, that is a problem,
I think-
Hector.
So I'm a Catholic.
if you
and
do-
and I try and remember where it differs from
That's Genesis.
your New Age stuff, right? Because like I'm not so much of an Old Testament guy as
Yeah, but
much
Genesis
as I'm a
is
New
a-
Testament guy. So it's like, yeah, technically I do, but
have no choice.
personally, fuck it.
The problem is Genesis is essential
It is.
to the Christian belief system.
There's a full
And there's a-
load of other things like. I
But
mean,
remember that's what it's all predicated on.
sure.
That God created heaven and earth, and Eve ate of the apple. And here's the problem: original sin starts with the intention of Eve eating the apple, which I'm sure you know the free will argument, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have free will? Because if you're a Christian, you have to believe that there is free will.
Yeah.
You have to, because Eve took of the apple of her own intent and then convinced Adam to do so. So Eve was, in essence, evil.
What about destiny? How does that?
Destiny.
How does that? If you're destined to eat that apple, or do you
She
really have
was.
free will?
No, that's the problem. There's your conflict, not mine.
Yeah, your
In other
conflict,
words-
you little bitch.
Listen. You worry about your own fucking conflicts, all right? Don't
If
worry
she
about
had-
mine.
If Eve had the choice, okay,
Yeah.
and
You got
she,
enough conflicts to worry about, my
and
friend.
she did it, then she was the original sinner. Yes.
Yes.
Well, why should a baby, the newborn baby, be burdened with what we assume Eve did at some particular point in the past? Why is the baby guilty of anything? Because that's another problem with basic Christianity. It presumes what? Not just free will, but original sin, which goes to that aspect of Genesis. Can't have a Christian religion if you don't believe in A, free will, B, original sin, and that Eve ate of the apple of her free will.
Yes.
The other problem is, of course, is God all-powerful and all-knowing?
No.
Omniscient and omniscient?
Supposed to, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Then wouldn't God have known that Eve was going to eat of the apple? And therefore Eve did not have any choice in that?
Yeah, Hector.
Preordained?
What do you got to say to that?
Yeah, actor. You're acting like I'm fucking some theologist. I am not. Okay.
Okay, do you see the conflicts
Yes,
I'm
I
referring
do see
to?
it. Yeah, I do
I'm
see
not
it.
I'm
I
not
do see it.
denying you can go ahead and
Yeah.
believe whatever you want.
Yeah, whatever
But
stupid shit you want to believe in.
But the problem is that you can't have a Christian religion unless you accept Genesis.
Yes.
And the problem with Genesis is how could Eve have taken of the apple of her own free will when A, God knew what Eve was going to do, which means it's preordained. B, if she did it of her own free will, then why would a baby just being born, does it have a baby have free will in the sense that it's responsible for what Eve did and it has to redeem itself in order to go to heaven, presumably, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't really add up. Assuming you want to apply logic.
I'll have to think about this one later.
Yeah, you got to think about that while you're fucking.
You won't
giving
be able to
yourself
get
a
an
hand
answer.
job.
No, I don't need to give myself. I need to find someone.
Hey, do you want
who
another
can
one?
For me.
I'll give you one more.
Sure.
How could there possibly be a Father, a Son, and a
The
Holy
Spirit.
Ghost?
Well, yeah. Well,
okay.
If you ask certain,
Wait a minute.
If you ask certain Christians, they don't believe in all of those. They don't believe in the Trinity.
But that's
so
also
so that's
elemental to Christianity.
I'd somewhat argue that it's not. There's a reason why you have people split off. There's a reason why Martin Luther did his own thing and like.
Well, there's a lot of mental
amount of people.
gymnastics that
You know
go
what I
around
mean?
attempting
Like,
to
yeah,
support
but
this
that's
stuff.
religion in general. People are gonna make up whatever they want. They'll be like, oh, you know, we're just gonna ignore that part and make up our own.
They're fucking idiots.
And then there's another interesting one. There's no actual condemnation of slavery.
Yes, true. And that's why I said I'm more of a New
Matter of fact, it's
Testament guy.
closer to condoning slavery, if anything.
There's modern slavery right now.
Of course there is. But anyway, it's that first one, the Genesis one, that really is the difficult one to overcome if you want to maintain Christian beliefs. Because everything is predicated on Genesis. Everything that follows from it. And if Eve ate of the apple and was kicked out of Eden,
Yeah.
did she do it of her own free will? And then I'll just leave one final question with you. Is there such a thing as free will in any sense whatsoever? Or does scientific determinism decide what is going to happen?
I remember this actually talking about the free will a couple of times, and then
Yep.
my decision was just straight up like, okay. As a conversation with a friend of ours, and it was like basically because you only got two options. It's either yes or no, right? It's either you say there is or there isn't. Life is a lot better if you say there is. That's just even if you're wrong.
Well, let's
you're
say
you're still better off if you just believe that there is.
We act as if there is.
Yes.
You know, we put people in jail for doing things wrong and reward people if they do things right on the presumption that they had intent.
Yes.
But there's no actual evidence of that. As a matter of fact, scientific determinism, which is essentially the idea that everything is demonstrable from a mathematical point of view. If I throw a ball in the air, it produces a certain arc, it lands at a certain impact, certain distance away, would suggest there's no such thing as free will. Who's that dude that was in the wheelchair that kind of...
I think the main tenet was
Hawking's?
Yeah, right. That's
Live your
Stephen
life.
Hawking makes it.
Live your life as if you have free will, even if you don't. Because even if
We
you're
don't.
wrong,
We
even
don't.
if you're wrong, which fine, you still end up living a better life than if you just go out life believing and living as if you
Hawkins
don't.
didn't believe in free will, and he had a perfectly incredible life considering the odds that were against him.
It's a fucking wheelchair, bro. He cheated on his wife with another. This guy was a
With
pimp.
another wheelchair.
Yeah, that's
This is a
crazy,
pimp,
man.
man.
Not only
Wheelchair.
wheelchair,
Listen,
man. We're talking
I know
like
guys that
paraplegic.
can walk and sling dick that don't have girls, and this guy was doing it from a fucking wheelchair with a robot voice.
Yeah.
Guy was slinging mad dick.
I mean,
he could go down as the pimp of science.
He was better off when he was younger, but yeah, I see your point.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's end the podcast with that, man. Daniel, thank you so much, sir,
Thanks for coming.
This was
It was fun.
honestly, I feel like I owe you tuition. That's what it feels like, right? Because you broke down shit in a way where I don't think even fucking Hector
No,
thought
man,
about
not
this.
even. No.
Right?
no, no.
I think that like I knew what kind of guy you are, but Hector had no fucking idea.
I actually liked it that way because
Yeah.
I considered asking you questions about him, but I was like, you know what? It'll be much better
I
podcast
agree.
if I just go in blind and I just don't know anything other than obviously his name, and then go off that. So that was really great.
This
That
was a
is the
great
way to go.
podcast.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Definitely want to have you back on whenever you get
Anytime.
a schedule.
Anytime.
And yeah, man, so it's fucking amazing, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
Cheers, guys.
Peace.